Okay, first things first. I know that I'm going to need 1/2 pound, that's 8 ounces, of Parmigiano Reggiano. Now, I buy the wedge, it's organic, and I chop it up myself. So here we go, let's get started on this. I know I'm going to need this later in the recipe, so we're going to chop it up now. There you go, that's how you grate cheese in my world. Okay, so we've set the cheese aside, and now we're going to put in the food processor 1 pound of ground organic veal, and maybe about a half dozen of the small baby carrots, and we'll get those buzzed down. Okay, so next up, we're going to add the veal carrot mixture to a pan with a little bit of olive oil on the bottom. Now, at the same time, I'm also preheating my oven to 350. All right, so there you see my carrot and veal mixture in the saute pan. And we're just gonna cook this nice and slowly. I don't wanna do this real fast because I don't really wanna brown it. I just wanna get it lightly cooked. And I want all those little pieces of veal just all broken up. And that's why you put it in the food processor, to really get that nice and chopped so that it doesn't, reform into big clumps when you're frying it up like this. All right, if you're noticing onions in there, I missed a step. So I took a large onion, buzzed it in the food processor, and added it to my veal and carrot mixture, and it's just sauteing nicely here, nice and slowly. And then we'll start the second part of this recipe. More ingredients. All right, recipe calls for 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, grated. I just put it in there. You couldn't see it because I wasn't holding the camera in the right spot. Sorry. This really is tough to do when you're holding the camera and then cooking only with one hand. Recipe also calls for just a pinch of salt. I'm using literally just a tiny pinch of Himalayan pink salt, sea salt. Next, we're going to add a couple of sprigs of fresh thyme. Now, I've already obviously taken that off of the stems. You don't want the stems in there because you can't eat the damn things. They wind up in your teeth. And the easy way to get the leaves off of the stalks is real simple. Hold it near the top and just pull backwards and the leaves come right off of the stalks. So we've added that to our mix. Oh, we're not done yet. Next in, we're going to throw in a bay leaf and a 1/4 teaspoon of white pepper. White pepper is really cool to work with because it doesn't take that much, and man, it packs the flavor. Oh, but wait, we're still not done yet. Next up, 8 ounces of white wine. And needless to say, in this kitchen, and I think in every kitchen, it should be Frey natural white organic wine. Now I'm going to bring this back up to a boil because I want to burn off the alcohol. I just want to keep all that flavor. Okay, so there you go. You see the wine burning off in my veal, carrot, onion. It's got the pepper, it's got the nutmeg, it's got the thyme. You see the little green flakes in there. And of course the orange flakes of carrots that I ran through the food processor early on. This is almost ready for the sauce. Okay, next up is to add my marinara sauce. You can make your own sauce if you have the time, that's great. But in this case, we're going to use the Trader Giotto's organic marinara sauce from Trader Joe's. We're just going to dump that right in here. All right, so there you see the base of the sauce. It's that bolognese is almost ready to go. Now, you could use this bolognese sauce as is, this recipe, over pasta. You could use it on gnocchi. You could use it on almost fettuccine. You could use it on almost anything. This sauce, this base bolognese sauce, is absolutely amazing. And again, the recipe's on Elizabeth's website at FoodNationRadio.com, and then in the search engine, just put lasagna. So this is pretty hot right now. I'm going to slow this down and just let this slowly simmer now for about 30 minutes while I work on the next part of this recipe. And by the way, simmer uncovered. All right, so you're looking at the bolognese saying, hey, how'd the color change? Oh, there was one more ingredient I needed to add, and that was 1/4 cup, 2 ounces of heavy whipping cream. So I've done that, and of course that'll change the color of the entire mixture. Now, I was asked, why do you do these videos? I wanted to prove that with the right tools, the right ingredients, and just a little bit of interest in what you're doing, any idiot can cook. That would be me. All right, so my bolognese, my meat sauce is over on the side. They're cooking. Now it's time to make my roux for this recipe. So I start with 6 tablespoons of butter, and it's just going to slowly melt there in my pot. There's no point in you sitting here watching butter melt. We'll be back. All right, so now my butter is melted, and I'm going to add 6 tablespoons of flour to this, and I'm going to quickly get a whisk and start stirring. All right, so my flour butter mixture is mixed up really well there. Now 6 cups of milk, and then start stirring. All right, we're just going to continue to whisk this, and you can tell when it's getting close to being done when the milk, butter, flour mixture has the consistency of a nice sauce. So we're just going to keep stirring, and this should be boiling in just a few moments. So my bechamel sauce is thickening up nicely. A couple of ingredients that I need to add here. Another 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, little tiny pinch of salt, and a little tiny pinch of more white pepper, and then just keep stirring to break up all those little chunks of nutmeg that are in there. All right, so here we are, ready to assemble this Italian lasagna. There's my meat sauce, my bolognese with the veal and all the ingredients. And again, you can find the entire recipe on Elizabeth's website at FoodNationRadio.com, and just look up lasagna. And there's my bechamel sauce, and look how nice and thick that is. Sometimes I amaze myself out here in the kitchen. All right, enough chatter. Let's get this thing assembled and in the oven. There's my 13x9 glass dish. There's my first layer of sauce on the bottom. Next, we're going to start adding the layers of lasagna, pasta. We use Barilla oven-ready lasagna, no boiling, ready to go. All right, I've ladled my first layer of bechamel sauce. The first layer is done. Now let's get some more red sauce going here. Remember that wedge of Parmigiano Reggiano that we grated earlier at the very beginning? Let's start adding that to this as well. And I'm sorry about the shadows. Layers 2, 3, and 4 done. We're starting the last layer of this. I started thinking, why did my dad only make the American version of lasagna? And then it dawned on me, when he was a kid growing up, even though, you know, my grandfather came to this country in 1921 on the USS America, and my dad was born in 1935, even though, you know, first generation American, they didn't speak Italian in the home at all. It was something that my grandfather insisted, was that everybody speak English. So the 3 daughters and my uncle and my dad all had to learn to speak English. And they basically shunned a lot of the Italian ways. So they thoroughly embraced American lasagna. So this is ready to go in the oven. I made a mistake earlier. I said 350. Oven should be at 375. So I've upped the temperature in the oven. This thing's ready to go in. By the way, the first time Elizabeth met my parents, she made this lasagna and took it over to them. My dad was blown away. All right, she's in the oven for the next 30 minutes, and then we'll check it. Nothing says loving like lasagna in the oven. There we go at the 30-minute mark. I'm boiling around the sides very nicely. All I want to do is let it go for about another 10 minutes to get the top nice and golden brown. All right, so obviously we're out of the oven and on the countertop resting. 40 minutes in the oven is all it took to get that nice golden brown. Now I want to scroll down here and I want you to see the layers. The layers of bechamel sauce along with the bolognese and the cheese as well. It's different from an American lasagna in that it's not this big gooey glob of cheese, but rather more delicate with a lot more flavor to it as well. All right, one last look. There you go. That's Elizabeth's recipe for Italian lasagna using bechamel and an absolutely wonderful bolognese sauce. And as I mentioned earlier, you could use that bolognese sauce over pasta all by itself. It's absolutely wonderful. All right, there you go. The recipes at FoodNationRadio.com. Let's eat.